Well, this is probably the deepest river crossing I'm going to take the 80 through. Tiny bit sketch.
Definitely getting a bit more tighter as we start to climb up the hill.
Well, morning from King's Hut. So it rained a little bit last night, nothing crazy, but it was pretty constant rain. There is going to be 95% chance of rain today, so it is going to be a wet day on the track. So yeah, we'll get our swags packed up, make some brekkie, and then probably roll on out of here.
After letting the cars warm up, we got back on the tracks. It was going to be a big day, but first we had to cross the King River. It was day 3 on the tracks. The cars were definitely showing their signs of dirtiness, but it was good having a river to be able to drive through and clean the underneath of the car after being through all that mud.
And even though we had a little bit of rain last night, the rivers hadn't really come up at all, so it was no issues for us going back across.
That was King Hut, or just outside of King Hut. What do you think about it, Liam?
Yeah, good campground. Again, I mean, the King Rivers seems to be pretty nice all the way along, so good to be able to have another campsite on the river, which is good.
Yeah, definitely. Nah, it was a good spot there. Be happy to go back there. But now we're gonna head back towards King Hut, and then head out towards Craig's Hut along Speculation Road. I'm gonna do it via Monument Track, so it should be pretty fun. Had a bit of rain last night, so it should be fairly wet. So we'll get out there and see how it goes. Best thing about rainy weather, no dust.
That's it, I can sit right on your ass if I wanted to.
So we're here, Monument Track. I think Liam's going to lead us in this one, and we're just going to, take this all the way up to Craig's Hut. So I haven't really heard much about this track. It says steep and rocky.
Yeah, I figured it would be
but
pretty straightforward.
Yeah, we go up it, see how we go, and go see Craig's Hut.
Now, if you've got a four-wheel drive and you're going to Craig's Hut, Monument Track is a great one to do because it's not overly hard if you're new to four-wheel driving, but it still offers some good hill climbs, some mud, and if you get a great day, you get some great views at the top. Climb up to 1,571 meters was very foggy, as you can see. We're hoping we're going to clear that by the time we got to the top, but as you can see, still cloudy up here. And that trail you can see on my left is not just someone's camper trailer. I'm pretty sure these are mobile repeater stations. So we saw quite a few of these when we were up here, and they're mobile repeater stations for the UHF system. And then we arrived at probably the most iconic destination in the Victorian High Country. This is Craig's Hut. Yes, this hut is a prop from the man from the Snowy River movie. It is probably the most famous high country hut in Australia and is an iconic destination for all people travelling the Victorian High Country.
Craig's Hut was built for the movie.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like a...
No, so this was built for the movie Man in the Snowy River.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Yep.
I haven't even watched that. I'll have to watch it.
Yeah. I think there's like 2 of them. They like made a sequel. Because basically the idea behind all these huts were to be shelters for cattlemen that mustered their cattle up here or whatever, and the snow came in or they were bogged in here for a few days, they could hide out at all these shelters. So there's so many of these scattered across the whole high country area. And I still have a few operators this day for campers or rangers or anything who need shelter during adverse conditions.
Primarily, the high country was seen as grazing land, and by the 1840s, cattlemen were driving their cattle up the mountains in some months in order to rest their home properties and take advantage of the high pastures. This seasonal grazing lasted for generations, but with the declarations of national parks, the leases of land gradually terminated, and in Victoria, the practice was outright banned in 2005, ending an era of the cattlemen in the high country. However, their history lives on with the huts and even brumbies, which still roam this area today.
And this hut's not actually original. It was rebuilt in 2006 due to fires. I think it's been rebuilt a couple times actually due to fires, just like a lot of the huts up here have been rebuilt. But they've kept it in that sort of era and made it like it suits in and looks really nice. So they've done a bloody good job. I filmed in I think it was 70 something, but would have had the catering van there and bloody all that good stuff.
So we got back on the road. We would have headed to Mount Sterling, but at the time of this trip, that was still all closed, so instead we headed back down the monument track and headed towards Bindaree Falls.
Bindaree Falls Walk.
Now, Bindaree Falls is an absolute hidden gem. There's a tiny little sign by the main road, but with a quick 5-minute walk, you end up at the beautiful Bindaree Falls. And with all the rain we had that night before, it was flowing hard.
How's that? It's actually nice not to cool down. You meant to stand here in summer.
Oh, it's so
with the water spray.
So Bindaree Falls, pretty impressive. Definitely worth the 5-minute walk it was from the road. That's probably one of the nicest waterfalls I've seen, I reckon. That's just picturesque. Bomb said 95% chance of rain today.
Yeah, the day's not over.
Alright, day is not over, correct. But currently it's beautiful.
It's like a little snake. Oh, that's crazy.
Liam just found an earthworm. That is absolutely huge.
You get big ones up here. Oh, he's been chopped in half too. It's not even full length, but that's like thick. That is a thick. That's like a little snake. Imagine if you gave that to like a hungry trout. I don't even know if they eat them.
We pushed on towards Upper Hauqua.
The horse stables.
We then, for the first time this trip, crossed the Hauqua River. We crossed the Hauqua River to arrive at Bindaree Flat, where we'd see probably one of the smallest huts we've seen this trip.
Too small.
Mmm.
Oh wow.
Well, it's a tiny little hut, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like the bare minimum.
It's now back in low range and we're turning on 16-mile Jeep track. So this one's meant to be, I think, a bit more challenging, especially when it's a bit wet. Had a bit of rain last night, so we'll see how we go. Just get out there and see how it goes.
From here, Liam and I decided to go 16-mile Jeep track to get to Bluff Hut. Now you can take Bluff Link Road, which is a lot easier, but we were looking for a bit more challenge, and after a bit of rain the night before, we were hoping 16-mile Jeep track would turn it on. 16-mile Jeep track follows the Hauqua River towards Pikes Flat. Now Pikes Flat, as the name states, is pretty much just a flat area. The hut's nothing really to talk about, it's just a bit of a shack, but it is nested right alongside the Hauqua River, so it'd be a great spot to sit down, fish, or camp. But since it was only midday, Liam and I kept pushing on towards Bluff Hut via the 16-mile Jeep track. As we leave Pikes Flat, the track becomes more overgrown, narrower, rockier, wetter. It becomes more challenging. As Liam and I were here quite early in the season, there was a heap of water around, everything was still super lush and green. It was an amazing environment to get to drive through.
I think we might be onto something here with 16-mile Jeep. It's
Definitely getting a bit more tighter as we start to climb up the hill.
as Patrick just said, yeah, it's definitely getting a bit more, obviously being wet probably makes a difference as well, but I reckon this should be a good track, I reckon. So, see where it takes us.
It's slick there. Oh yeah, that's pretty slippery.
Mate. Fresh muddy, mate, did it easy.
Yeah, you got the good tread muddy.
So, we just finished a 16-mile Jeep track. What do you think, Liam?
It was very easy. Yeah, there wasn't really.
Yeah, no, it wasn't
There was one tiny bit that was like slightly clayey, that where we spun the wheel a tiny, but literally nothing to worry about at all.
Yeah. So we're up here now. We're going to jump onto Bluff Link Road and take out the Bluff Hut and check that out.
Yeah, Bluff Link Road and then onto Bluff Track, and then.
Oh, that okay. Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's
Cool.
Link Road, then Bluff Track, and then that takes us to Bluff Hut.
Let's do it.
From Bluff Track, it's a quick run up to Bluff Hut, and if you get on a good weather day, there's some spectacular views to be had.
So where are we, Liam?
We are at Bluff Hut. Just our Bluff Track, and it's not that far up.
Oh wow, this is pretty good.
The Button Man.
Button Man.
Coming to a place near you.
Button on.
Button on.
Bluff Hut is the third highest hut in Australia. The original hut, built in the 1950s, was burnt down in the 2007 fires, but has since been restored. The hut is only a short walk from the bluff, which gives you insane views over the entire valley. It was the Stoney family who built the hut in the 1950s and ran cattle up here all the way up until 1989. After having some lunch, Liam and I headed eastbound along Bluff Track towards Lovicks hut. Weaving within the sorghums on a historic cattle route, we knew we were in the high country. On tracks carved by generations before us, we made our way from Mount Lovick to the historic Lovicks hut.
Well, we've kept trucking on and we've arrived at Lovicks hut now. Do you know much history about Lovicks hut, Liam?
No.
Well, we just crossed over Mount Lovick and this is his hut. Whoa, and a big hut it is. They hope the saints smell, don't they?
It's all like smoke.
Pretty big hut, isn't it?
Still cold in it, someone's been here last night.
Oh yeah, there are too.
No,
He had been granted the King Billy Run in compensation for surrendering his previous lease on Mount Buller when the mountaintop was incorporated. Seriously? Yeah, this would have all been grazing land. Like farmers would have.
Yeah, they literally just push cattle through.
Yeah.
After checking out the hut, we pushed on towards Hauqua Spur, where we were planning on spending the night.
Alright, so we've arrived up at Helicopter Spur. This is where I'll sort of aiming to potentially camp. It's a bloody awesome view, as you can see, but we're not sure about the weather. We think that it might sort of start to turn south tonight. Like, it was meant to turn south last night and it did. It rained down a heap, but it's meant to be potentially a little bit worse tonight. So we're at about 1,517 meters here, so it will get bloody cold, and we're thinking instead we might just head back down to Hauqua River and camp like sheep yards or any of the spots along there. Still only around 2:30 now, so we've got a bit of time, so we'll probably just head back there and camp along the river again.
So we turned around and made our way back down towards Hauqua. We would have loved to keep pushing on and go forward to Locola, but unfortunately we didn't have the time this trip. But if that's something you guys want to see, let us know, because we'd love to do a part 2 on this trip and get all the way down to Locola, Dargo, and see all those awesome spots there are out that way. So we jumped down to Bluff Link Road and headed down to Brox Road into the Hauqua historical area. We spent a while looking for secluded campsites, as it was actually surprisingly busy on a Wednesday, but we finally found something on Blackbird Flat on the Hauqua River.
You're one of those little annoying type of birds, aren't you? You're an annoying one, aren't you? Oh no. Oh, look at him on me bloody awning. Get up there. They must get fed or something.
They must.
They'd have to be.
There's 4 of them on your car. Okay, now there's 6 on your car.
No, there's not. 3, 4, 5.
There's 6, there's another one behind the car, aren't there?
No, 1, 2, 3. Oh shit, there is 6.
There's 6 on his car.
What do you want?
That is hilarious.
I need a cracker. Oh, straight away. Oh, yeah, they go mental as soon as there's food.
Oh God.
Come on, get it? Oh, that's still there. Oh, they're gonna scratch me beautiful paint.
Hey, don't go in my car.
That's all they want. They just want food.
Alright, so I've got camp. We ended up camping at a spot called Blackbird Flat, which is right next to Sheepyard Flat on the other side of the river. All the other campsites down the river were actually super packed out for considering it's Wednesday, but we came over here and I think a few puddles deterred the caravanners from going here. So got the place to ourselves, which is awesome, and we've got river frontage, as you can see. We've already been in for a swim. Sun's finally come out, so all's looking up, and I think Liam's about to go for a fish, so see what happens.
The Hauqua River is a spot I'm always recommending to people. It's close enough that it's easy to get to and it's got heaps of campsites along it.
Yeah.
Straight full out of the water.
Wow.
And to give you guys some ideas of where to go this summer, I've included all the GPS data for this trip, so you can check out a link in our video description on Guide GPS and follow the route we took on this very trip for yourself. And once again, it was time for dinner, and a fresh dinner cooked on the fire. Doesn't get better than that.
Flame grilled. Liam, mate, that's looking good. Oh, mate.
There's heaps of spuds in that, so I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, I love them. Oh, champion! Look at that. That tastes mint. Good work.
It was a great day to wake up in Hauqua. The sun was out, the birds were already bugging us wanting food, and it was going to be another awesome day out on the tracks. Liam once again cooking a bloody mean breakfast. We do a lot of eggs and bacon because we have chickens at home, so that's why there's so many eggs. We then packed up the swags and headed down the river for a morning swim. Then it was time for our last day on the tracks.
That was Blackbird Flat on the Hauqua River. How'd you like the campsite, Liam?
Yeah, very good. Good access. I think better probably because it's during the week. I feel like if you're here on a weekend, because of how sort of close access it is to civilization, I'd say it'd get pretty busy. So definitely better when it's quiet. But other than that, yeah, good stretch of river, good for swimming. Yeah, no complaints.
Yeah, sweet. So today we're basically going to follow on from the Hauqua River and basically follow it all the way out to Lake Eildon. So I think there's a few little huts and things along the way, and we'll just go and check it out and maybe even a few river crossings. We'll have to see what happens.
We headed west, checked out Fry's hut. Now this is like a really nice hut, but unfortunately there's a few people there, so we sort of just gave it a miss. So unfortunately you can't hear me very well here, but I was talking about Fry's hut. Now Fry's hut was built by Fred Fry, and he was a legendary bush craftsman. He crafted many of the huts up the Hauqua River, and he lived out here all the way up to his death in 1971. At this time of year, there's actually a fair bit of water around, so even all these small little crossings you do actually have a little bit of water in them. Liam also spotted a red-bellied black hanging out by the river.
That'd be a pretty steep ascent. I'd probably go low range, leave
up Hauqua Hills track was actually fairly steep. It wasn't wet, so it wasn't too bad, but it definitely was steep. The Hauqua Hills and its historic past stems from its gold heritage. There was prospectors along the river as early as 1855, and while several mines were pretty heavily set up, the reefs were generally quite disappointing, delivering not much gold.
Decent little climb out of that valley.
It's not bad, eh?
The memories of Hauqua's historical mining past can be seen in the Hauqua historical area, where there's chimneys, water races, diversion tunnels, and ruins of the processing plants. So we were nearly done with all the four-wheel driving on this trip, but we had one task left to do.
Well, this is probably the deepest river crossing I'm going to take the 80 through.
Yes, the infamous Running Creek campsite crossing. Now this can get real deep in winter. Fortunately for us, it wasn't really that deep at this time of the year, but it's definitely something to look out for if you're in the earlier months of the season.
So this one's definitely the deepest I've ever been across it. I haven't seen it this deep before, but it should be alright.
Alright. Actually, seatbelt off river crossings. Nah, actually right. Patio through didn't look too deep. No deeper than the last one anyway. It's a very cool crossing though, like you sort of come follow the river and then there's like a bit of a fall away.
I reckon it almost looks like if you go left, it's not as deep. I'll wade in a little bit.
It's definitely a bit deeper, but
Yeah.
I don't reckon it can't.
Alright. This one's definitely the deepest crossing I'm gonna ever have done in the 80 series, or probably any car actually.
Well, he did that pretty easy, so I reckon we'll be right. The only reason I'm skeptical is because those of you that might have watched the Turbo series might have seen that when I plumbed up the new airbox, it wasn't exactly like a, it's not an airtight fit. So, tiny bit sketch. It's still like it's still fairly sealed, but I mean, definitely water could definitely get in there if it wanted to. So, see how we go. All right. Second low, seatbelt off. See how we go. And the slower you go, the less splashing as well, which is sometimes helpful.
Successfully crossed the Hauqua River, we turned around and made our way back towards the main road. As we could see Lake Eildon, where the Hauqua River ends, we too could see the end of our journey.
Alright, the tarmac's just there. We've all laid up. We're good to go. That was an awesome trip. It was only 3 nights, but it's still great fun to be out there. And our first time actually doing some proper filming out there. So I hope you guys really enjoyed the episode. We loved making it and we put a lot of time into getting out here and doing it. So if you want, leave us a like, leave us a comment, let us know how much you enjoyed it. And yeah, we really want to make more of them. So yeah, let us know how you liked it. But no, how'd you like Hauqua and high country and everything?
Yeah, all a lot of good areas. Definitely a few sites to check out that you would have seen, a few good views and waterfalls, things like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, other than that, like, we didn't have any issues. So
hang on, trip highlight, best thing on the trip.
I can't even say the name of it. Dang Dongadale Falls or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
That was there.
I really like Lake Cobbler. That was also sick, and the track between Lake Cobbler and King Hut was awesome. But yeah, so many awesome things up there. Craig's Hut was grouse. Awesome thing. So I'll leave a link in the description of a map you can follow to check out all the routes we did. But yeah, if you liked the video, give it a like, get subscribed, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.